All right. Today, I am going to talk about bridging digital islands in the oil and gas space. And although this presentation is very focused on oil and gas, what you'll see is that the fundamentals and the building blocks that we're going to talk about can be extrapolated to a bunch of other industries. And so I hope this serves a bit as a preamble to the panel that we're going to have in 15 minutes right after this presentation and demonstration. My name is Patrick Mandic. I'm the CEO of Mavennet. And for those who don't know us, Mavennet is a digital solutions architectural firm out of Toronto. Very focused on supply chain, but we also do a lot of work on financial services. We've worked with Canadian banks and Toronto Montreal Exchange. This specific piece of work that we're going to talk about today has been done in collaboration with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. So I hope you like it. Let's start with a high note. Thanks to technology, things are always getting better. So we're better off today than we were 1,000 years ago, that were 500 years ago, 100 years ago. And that's partly because technology is getting better and better and better over time. And so it always gets better. Let me challenge that for a second. Does it always get better? So in some cases, most cases, what tends to happen is that a technology gets to a point where it plateaus, where you can no longer get more out of that technology, and so something new needs to come to be able to take that qualitative jump. And this has happened in the airline space, has happened in the telco space, where telcos no longer want to be just pipes that move bits around. They want to try to be more because their space has been commoditized. And so the evolution of technology in a very oversimplified way tends to look like this. And there's a point in time when there's an inflection point, and there's a qualitative jump that allows us to do something that we hadn't even imagined before. And so what's important from my perspective, and what I want to draw your attention to, is that, counter to popular belief, those inflection points tend to be a confluence of not just one technology that changes everything. It's a confluence of a bunch of different technologies that some of them might already exist, some of them might be completely new. They might all be completely new. But the point is that it tends to be a bunch of different technologies together. It was the same for the internet. It was the same for cars, the light bulb. I mean, you can think about a light bulb. It's pretty simple, but you need it in order to make a light bulb commercially viable. It wasn't just the filament that burns, right? It was the light bulb. It was being able to create a glass around it that was vacuum packed inside. It was being able to have some sort of energy, electricity generator, a grid. All of those things were necessary for an actual commercial adoption. And what we're seeing today is that we're starting to plateau here with the current internet technology that we have today. And that's impacting us in what we're able to do in different spaces. So, and it's the reality is that the internet wasn't built with specific characteristics and capabilities that are necessary to do to help us take that leap, that qualitative jump that is required to take us to the next level. And I'm going to give you an example in the oil and gas space. So if we think about Canadian oil and gas, we have a bunch of companies, some of them which have gone through massive digital transformation. They spend a lot of money going through those transformations, and they're able to know their data internally extremely well. They know where every barrel of oil is at any given point of time. But at the moment that all these companies are exchanging information, what tends to happen is that they either print or they go to PDF, which is semi-paper pretty much, or they exchange Excel files. And so as you're exchanging this information through between all these digital islands, and if this information changes hands 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, I no longer can have any sort of trust or evidence that no one has altered that information. I don't know who has done what to that information. I only know the last island that communicated with me. And so it's impossible for us to be able to show origination of a product or of a piece of information, for that matter. And so right now we'll have certificates of origin, which are a piece of paper just as trustworthy as the person who carries them, because they're basically as they look as legit as my abilities to use Photoshop, right? So and so our ability to keep taking that qualitative leap depends on 3 building blocks that are required to make this happen. One of them is identity. I need to securely be able to identify each company, each individual that it's performing a transaction. I need to be able to trust information independently of how many hops that information has taken, and knowing who was the original creator of that information, who has changed any kind of data from that information exchange, and when that happened. And finally, I need to be able to automatically pay for that value, complete the circle, right? So on Neoflow, which is our platform for commodities, we are applying some of these fundamentals, which, by the way, already exist in many ways separately, to bring this to life. And what's important about this platform, and again, we're focusing a lot on standards that are already existing. What's important on this platform is the use cases that this enables, not the technology itself. The technology helps build those use cases, but the same way that internet helps create Google, helps create, enables the ability to create Google Maps, Facebook, whatever it is. In this case, there is a bunch of use cases that we have identified. It's open to anyone to create more use cases on top of these standards, but the first one, most immediate for us, is what we call Nexus for Oil. So the ability to allow goods to cross the border in a very transparent way, fast way, and securely. The other applications that you can think of is obviously regulatory reporting, secure data being exchanged with regulators. You can think about trade finance. You can think about a bunch of different use cases using those building blocks, those fundamentals. And so now I'm going to make it real for you guys. So this is the Neoflow platform, and again, what's important is the foundation of this, not the actual UI and how this gets presented to the user. This information can be used in different ways and also for different applications. But now I'm going to log in with a fictitious company called OilCo. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to select semi-randomly a product, and I'm going to show you a couple of these fundamentals. So here, high level, what you're seeing is a bunch of events that are happening to a specific barrel of oil. And those events get recorded as, with timestamps, mutable timestamps, and I cannot create something in the past, right? So thanks to the blockchain, I'm not able to go to the past and create a timestamp, which has some benefits, and I'm going to talk about later on. And here with my identity, we're using decentralized identifiers. So this is some work that is standardized in the W3C. With these decentralized identifiers, I am able to create digital documents. I'm able to sign them. I'm able to exchange it. And 2, 3, 4 steps down the road, someone can validate those documents without even sharing any kind of like identity provider or anything of that sort, like we would have to depend on today with federated models and so on. So we have the identity, we have our ability to create digital documents, and our ability to create events. And what that allows us to do in this case is create a certificate of origin that it's going to allow us to drive in one use case the ability to select the appropriate tariff, for example, right? But different to what we talked about, a paper certificate, in this case, all this information populated in the certificate has been stamped on the blockchain at a given point of time by a specific organization. So if I were to find myself with a tanker full of Iranian oil, I cannot just create timestamps in the past. I would have to collude with a bunch of stakeholders to create something that's remotely credible for someone to review. And if you add artificial intelligence to detect anomalies, it becomes exponentially more difficult to cheat the system, right? So this is a very quick demo to show you how one of the potential applications of what that foundation can build. And so you see here the composition of that Western Canadian Select barrel of oil, how it has been diluted, what the products are that compose that barrel of oil, and so on. So just a teaser. If you want to find out more, you can send me an email, patrick@mavennet.com. In any case, I would like to close this presentation by saying that today we have all the technologies that are required to take that qualitative leap. And so it's for us just the time to align, to work together to take that leap. Thank you.